Ciao, Andrew here from the Glaser Tutoring Company, and today I would like to teach you how to use the Rational Zero Theorem to find the real zeros of this polynomial function of x raised to the fourth plus 2x cubed minus 9x squared minus 2x plus 8. So first question is, what in the world is the Rational Zero Theorem? Well, basically it says this, that if you take the factors of your constant term, call those factors p, and then you take the factors of your leading coefficient, which is the coefficient in front of the highest power of x, and you call those factors q. Then you take all your factors p, divide them by all your factors q. It's going to give you a list of then possible real zeros. Maybe they work, maybe one of them, maybe none of them, maybe four of them will work, who knows? But the idea here is that this gives you a possible list. All right? So what are the possible real zeros? Well, we have to find the factors of 8, right? So two whole numbers that multiply to 8, so 1 and 8, definitely. And then it sounds to me like the only ones that are left are going to be 2 and 4, right? So now what you're going to do is you're going to put a plus minus in front of each one, because to give you a positive 8, you can do either two positives or two negatives. Then what are the factors of q? Well, it's just a 1, so it's either positive 1, or negative 1, negative 1. So again, plus minus. Now what you're going to do is you're going to then find each single term, okay, each single possibility here. So when you do positive 1 divided by positive 1, that gives you a positive, well, what I meant to say, well, if you do positive 1 plus divided by positive 1, that's going to give you a positive 1. Okay, cool. But to speed through this, if you take positive and negative 1 divided by positive and negative 1, you're going to get positive and negative 1. Then when you take positive and negative 2 divided by positive and negative 2, that's going to give you positive and negative 2. Then positive and negative 4. Then positive and negative 8. If you had another denominator down here, then you'd have to do it again with the other denominator, okay? Whatever that might be. So in this particular problem, it looks like we have 4 values, but in reality, we really have 8. The reason being is because each one of these comes with a positive and negative. So now the idea is this. Now that you have your list, what you're going to do is you're going to test, meaning guess and check. You're going to take one of these 8 values, plug it in for x, and see if that produces a 0 value for the function. Okay, that's what it means to be a real zero, or that's just what it means to be a 0 of a function, right? The 0 values are the values of x that give a resulting value of 0 to the overall function. So let's test positive 1 because it's easy. So plug in 1 for every x, and then cube it if need be, or square it if need be, or just plug it in without a power, or just don't plug it in at all. And now we're going to see, let's evaluate this, right? 1 raised to the fourth is a 1, plus then 2, minus 9, minus 2, plus 8. Now the question is, does this work out to be 0? And this looks kind of promising, right? The positive, well, that's a negative 2, but the positive and negative 2 eliminate one another. And then the 8 plus a 1 is a 9, and minus 9, oh, that's 0. Oh, wait a minute. Wow, we got lucky. We had a 1 in 8 chance. Right, 1 out of 8, we had about a 12.5% chance, right? Because 1 divided by 8 is going to be 0.125. Multiply that by 100, and that's going to be 12.5%, ladies and gentlemen. We had a 12.5%. That means out of 100 trials, about 12.5 times we would have been right. And we guessed it right this time. All right, that's the first time, by the way. I think I have how many videos out there on this? Maybe 12 or so. All right, that I actually was able to get it right, which is kind of, I guess, cool. I don't know. Anyway, just a pure guess. So what we are going to expect now is we're going to expect that a real 0 occurs at 1. Okay, in other words, if I were to graph the function now, you should see this function crossing the x-axis at positive 1. Now what you can do is you can test the remaining 7, but honestly, you're just going to plug in the values, right? So that's fair enough. And you can go test the 7. So now let's go and plot this thing. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to y equals, and then you're going to do x raised to the fourth plus 2x cubed. Then you're going to do minus 9x squared. Then you're going to do minus 2x. Okay, great. And then you're going to do plus 8. And you're going to hit graph. Okay, so here it is. Now in this particular case, this is kind of nice. All right, it looks like this thing is going to cross the x-axis at 4 places, which means that we're going to have 4 real zeros. So we have a 0 here. Remember, that's what it means. Okay, we have a 0 here, and a 0 there. So it looks like to me that -1, -2, -3, -4 should be a value, -4. Then -1 should be a value, okay. Then +1, well, what we just did, and then +2. Now, are these the values that we obtained? Well, yeah, right? This is the list of the possible values. So -4 is on the list, -1's on the list, +1 is on the list, and +2 is on the list. This is a list of possible values. I do not mean that all of these or all of the zeros, the real zeros, will be found this way. That's not what this theorem is all about. It's a list of possibilities. Maybe one of them works, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe all of them. In this case, you're going to have 4 because you have a power of 4, right? So there's really a maximum of 4 zeros. Maybe all of them will work, and they did in this problem. Or maybe none of them will work. Okay? In other words, that they're all imaginary. You can have 4 imaginary zeros. That's possible too. So you don't really know how this is going to work until you kind of plug it, if you don't have your calculator, until you plug them all in and test. But that's kind of inefficient, right? But as you can, so what you can do now, take the -4, take the -1, +1 we already did, and +2, plug those values in it, and what you'll see is that you're going to get the value of 0 when you plug it in. And that's how you know that they're zeros, because they resulted after you evaluated it to a value of 0 for the overall function. Right. Guys, thanks for tuning in. And girls. Children of all ages. Adults of all ages. Thank you very much. I'd love to help you with more problems. Check out our channel, because we have thousands of videos out there. Not only in math, but chemistry and physics as well. We solve specific problems because guess what you're going to see on your test? Specific problems. What better way to study than to actually practice doing problems? And if you get stuck on them, we got your back. We got a whole video dedicated to that single example. All right? It's the best way to study. It's the most efficient way to study. And that'll help you do the best on your exams. And it will help you get into the schools you need to get into. And it will help you with life. It'll help you with your interaction with people. It'll also help you spiritually. I'm just kidding. I have no idea if it's going to help with any of that stuff I just mentioned. But I will guarantee you're going to have fun. Check us out. See you soon.